St. Croix's relationship with agriculture is a direct reflection of its economic and political history. For over 3 centuries, control of the island's land and what it produced has shifted between external powers, each shaping the diet and the livelihood of the Crucian people. Today, with over 90% of its food imported, Virgin Islanders face a critical question of food sovereignty. Can we get to a place where we have the ability to define and control our own food systems? The colonial agricultural model established on St. Croix was designed primarily for extraction and not for local sustenance. Following the indigenous Taino and Carib periods of cultivation, the island's fertile land was converted almost entirely to sugarcane by the 18th century. This system would end up having 2 long-lasting impacts on the territory. First, it oriented the entire economy toward a single export commodity. The focus was on profit for distant owners and not on feeding the local population. Secondly, it actively disconnected the majority of people, first enslaved Africans and then tenant farmers, from land ownership and self-provisioning. Eventually, food, particularly cultural staples like saltfish, flour, and rice, would become imported necessities purchased exclusively with wages. This created a structural dependency on outside food that outlasted the plantation era itself. In the mid-20th century, there was a significant push to reverse this dependency, and it was done through the Virgin Islands Corporation known as VI Corp. It was established in the 1940s on over 3,000 acres of land that was federally funded and a territorial initiative. VI Corp operated as an integrated cultural cooperative. Its model was comprehensive. It raised cattle and hogs, operated a modern dairy, grew vegetables and fruits, and ran processing facilities like canneries and meat-packing plants. At its peak, it supplied a substantial portion of the territory's fresh milk, meat, and produce. It also provided Crucians with agricultural training, management experience, and a sense of ownership in a collective endeavor aimed at self-sufficiency. Historians have referred to VI Corp as the prototype for the Green New Deal, for the scale and its goal of using land reform and sustainable industry to build a resilient local economy. The visibility of VI Corp was undercut in the 1960s by a deliberate territorial shift toward industrial development. The government aggressively pursued heavy manufacturing, most notably with the arrival of Harvey Aluminum in 1965, and then the subsequent arrival of the Hess oil refinery. Harvey Aluminum represented a new economic vision. It promised higher wages, industrial jobs, and tax revenue. And in order to attract and support this industry, the government diverted critical attention, infrastructure, and subsidies away from the agricultural industry. The message was that the future laid in factories and not in fields. This pivot had a direct consequence on VI Corp. It ceased operations in 1967. The closure re-solidified the territory's dependence on imported food. The economy now relied on both imported goods and a single volatile industry employer, trading one form of external dependency for another. The current state of food security in the Virgin Islands is a direct result of this history. The territory now imports an estimated 93 to 98% of its food. This reliance creates severe economic and logistical vulnerabilities. Financially, an estimated $200 million annually leaves the local economy in order to pay for these imports. Logistically, this system is fragile. Natural disasters like hurricanes, and we in Hurricane Alley, immediately expose this weakness, disrupting shipping and leading to empty shelves and food shortages within days. This reality has fueled a modern movement for food sovereignty. The concept goes beyond food security and works to address who controls the systems that bring food to the table. Advocates, including local farmers and activists and nonprofit organizations, argue for systemic changes, securing and protecting agricultural land from development, investing in local processing and storage facilities to reduce post-harvest loss, and creating reliable local markets for farmers through institutions like schools and hospitals that need food daily. The push for food sovereignty in the Virgin Islands is a practical response to economic leakage and physical vulnerability, grounded in the understanding that control over food is a foundational element of community resilience and in self-determination.